272 people. That's everyone who lives in this town, and every single one of them lives in the same building, one hallway. That connects the apartments, the school, the police department, and the only grocery store. Step outside that building and you're surrounded by mountains, glaciers, and nothing else for miles. Today we're going to the places that make you ask, how is this even possible? Not just remote dots on a map, but actual communities with kids and schools and morning routines, and neighbors who've known each other their entire lives. These are the most isolated places on Earth, and somehow, people call them home. Let's start with a geography question. If you drew a circle 1,500 miles in every direction from this island, what would you find inside that circle? Ocean. Just ocean. Tristan de Cunha is officially the most remote inhabited island on Earth. The nearest land with actual people on it is St. Helena, 1,300 miles away. And St. Helena is already in the middle of nowhere. 245 people live here, in a village called Edinburgh of the Seven Seas. And before you picture a struggling outpost barely clinging on, these people are doing fine. They farm, they fish, and they run one of the most exclusive lobster industries on the planet. But here's what isolation actually looks like in practice. There is no airport. To get here, you take a boat from Cape Town, South Africa, a journey that takes 6 to 7 days across some of the most violent seas on Earth. These aren't ferries. They're infrequent cargo ships you have to book months in advance. Now, what happens if someone has a heart attack, a serious accident? There is one resident doctor, one, for 245 people. If your condition is beyond basic care, you wait. You wait for a ship to come, and then you take a 6-day ocean voyage to get treatment. And yet, the waiting list to move here is enormous. Why? Because people have been offered the world, and they've looked at Tristan da Cunha and thought, no, I'd rather stay. Zero crime, no traffic, no strangers. You know every single person on the island by name because you've known them since birth. There's a peace here that most of us will never experience. The isolation isn't a bug. For the people who live here, it's the whole point. Now, I want to take you somewhere you might not expect, because when we talk about extreme isolation, most people think of remote islands or frozen tundra. But what about here? Supai, Arizona, the United States. Population around 450 people. And it is the only town in America where mail is still delivered by mule. To reach Supai, you hike 8 miles into the Grand Canyon. Or you ride a horse, or a helicopter on certain days. There are no roads in. There are no roads out. Your Amazon package travels by mule train down a canyon wall. This is the home of the Havasupai tribe, one of the smallest Native American tribes in the country. They've lived in this canyon for over 800 years. They weren't left behind by progress. They chose this canyon, and they've defended it. And their backyard? It looks like something out of a dream. Havasu Falls, one of the most strikingly blue waterfalls in North America. Sitting at the bottom of a canyon most Americans have never set foot in. The Havasupai call it Havasu Baja, the people of the blue-green water. Yes, their grocery store is a 16-mile round-trip hike. Yes, getting emergency medical care requires a helicopter or a multi-hour journey. But they have something else. A home that has been theirs, unmistakably, undeniably theirs, for nearly a millennium. That's not isolation. That's permanence. Most people feel altitude sickness at around 8,000 feet. Hikers training for Everest acclimatize at 12,000. The city of Cusco, Peru, already one of the highest cities in the world, sits at 11,000 feet. La Rinconada sits at 16,700 feet above sea level. It is the highest permanent human settlement on Earth, and 50,000 people live there. The air up here contains about half the oxygen of sea level. Newcomers get headaches, nausea, and disorientation just from breathing. There's no running water, no sewage system. The glacier the town sits on is melting, meaning the town is slowly, literally, sliding. So why would 50,000 people live here? Same reason people have done crazy things throughout human history. Gold. La Rinconada sits beside one of the largest gold deposits in Peru. And the labor system here is unlike anything you'd find in the modern world. It's called cachorreo. Workers spend 30 days working for free, no wages, nothing. And on the 31st day, they're allowed to carry out as much ore as they can hold in their arms. Whatever gold is in that rock, that's their pay. Most people break even, or worse, but some strike it rich. And that lottery ticket hope that maybe this is the month is powerful enough to pull people up to 16,700 feet and keep them there, coughing, altitude sick, watching their health deteriorate, because maybe this month's rock is the one that changes everything. It's a modern gold rush, playing out at the top of the world, almost completely invisible to the rest of us. Remember that building we opened with? Let's go back, because Whittier, Alaska deserves its own chapter. To get to Whittier, you drive through a mountain, literally. The Anton Anderson Memorial Tunnel is 2.5 miles long, and it's the only road in or out. Cars and trains share the same tunnel, and it runs on a schedule. Miss the window? You wait. During winter, the tunnel closes. When storms roll in off Prince William Sound, Whittier goes dark. The mountains on 3 sides block direct sunlight for months. And for most of that winter, for most of the year actually, the town's 272 residents don't leave the Begik Towers. The Begik Towers was built by the U.S. Army in 1956 as a military installation. When the military left, the residents stayed. And over the decades, an entire town's infrastructure was slowly absorbed into one 14-story building. The school, the city offices, the health clinic, the convenience store, the laundry room. All under one roof, connected by a single hallway. On the surface, it sounds oppressive. But the people of Whittier don't describe it that way. They talk about looking out for each other. They know when a neighbor hasn't been seen in 2 days. They know when someone's been sick. There's a level of communal accountability that cities of millions can't manufacture. The trade-off is simple. In exchange for living inside a mountain, cut off from the highway, in a single building with 271 other people, you get to wake up every morning to Prince William Sound, eagles, glaciers, orca pods, a view that costs millions in Vancouver or Seattle. Here, it costs the willingness to live a very different kind of life. 4 places, 4 completely different definitions of isolation. An island with no airport, a canyon with no roads, a glacier with no oxygen, a mountain with 1 tunnel. What strikes me every time I go down these rabbit holes is this. The people who live in these places aren't there because they have no choice. Some of them do, but most of them have looked at the rest of the world, weighed it against their canyon, their island, their hallway, and decided to stay. There's something in that choice that says a lot about what humans actually need. Spoiler, it's not a short commute. If you want to keep going down this road, we did a whole video on US cities that logically should not exist, but somehow do. I'll put it on screen right now. Subscribe if you're new, and I'll see you in the next one.